Yeah, and it's just basically the Smashing Pumpkins are the Billy Corgan experience, you know,
Oh yeah.
rather than, you know, being this. And he was trying to make out, he was trying to make out that he was fucking Welsh. Oh yeah, my ancestors were Welsh, and it's like, I was like, man, that's like what fucking Joe Biden did to the Irish. It's like, oh, I'm Irish because of X, Y, and Z. It's like, fuck off, you're not Irish, you know.
Yeah, that's
Just
like me
because-
saying, "Oh, I'm Swedish because my great grandpa came over from Sweden." It's like, well,
Yeah, I think it's just, I don't know, man. Like,
pretty
you know,
sure that
not-
my great grandparents were very different from a lot of modern Swedish people.
yeah.
If my own experience is correct, because they were OG, like they weren't the a lot of Scandinavians now seem like they're very kind of like touchy-feely, like
Yeah,
just want to have
yeah.
a good time, kind of, and that wasn't my great grandparents, man. They're old. Oh
Yeah,
boy,
just-
some of these, man, that one of those turns in the beginning is people are having troubles with.
Yeah, we got a couple of Swedes on this game who's great.
Nice.
That Kobe crew leader is from Sweden.
So he in?
I used to play with a Swedish kid back in the day. We used to do heists and stuff together.
Nice. Was his English pretty good?
Yeah, it wasn't bad actually. Yeah.
All
Like
of
sometimes
those
you play with
countries-
foreigners. I love when you play with foreigners and their English is better than yours. You're just like,
Yeah.
Yeah, all those nations are like that. you
He'd
know
always
what I
try to
mean?
make me say Swedish words, and then he would laugh at me because I'd always butcher it.
because you couldn't say it right.
Yeah.
All those nations are like that, you know. The European, you know, I mean, as you say, like, you know, they can speak English better than
Well, like,
even me, you know.
I think maybe it might be like a function of how the phonetics of one language line up with the other one, and maybe if, like, you know, because the modern Swedish and modern English have, like, they have a lot of common origins if you go back far enough. So there's actually a lot of grammar and even diction overlap.
Well, Sweden was an empire, right? And
Oh yeah,
Norway broke away from Sweden however many years ago, so same with Ireland, you know. I mean, Ireland was considered Britain at, let me get this right, before 1916. Yeah, and that's still a troubling issue even today, you know.
oh yeah. Actually, one of my favorite engineering fuck-up stories goes back to Swedish Empire. I forgot which king it was, but they were either beefing with the Russians or the Poles or both of them, and you know they wanted, you know, since just because of their location, obviously their navy plays a pretty big role in their military plans or endeavors, right? So
Yeah.
Carl Gustav, I don't know which one, he's like, oh well, we need to have the biggest boat in the Baltic. Like, it's got to be huge. It's got to carry the whole army, right? So he gets this architect, like fucking naval architect, to like just make this ridiculous, huge galleon, just enormous. Which it was, I think, at the time, it was like, I think, the biggest Western style sailing boat in the world. And it took like 3 or 4 years to build. Ended up chewing up, like, I think at least 1, if not 2 years worth of GDP of like the entire fucking income of Sweden to pay for. And this boat, though, it was so big that to work to keep it on the schedule that they were trying to make, they had to run it in two. They had to build them with 2 different crews. So they had 2 different shipwrights, Because usually it's just one crew, one shipwright, and they just make the whole thing themselves, right? So they're like, okay, well, we have to divide the labor, and it seems like the most equitable thing is to, like, well, we're going to give you guys the right half of the boat, and then we're going to give you guys the left half of the boat, and you both build them, and you got to be done by this date, and then we'll, you know, you guys will both everybody puts it together, gets it all stitched up, blah, blah, blah. So they go through this whole thing, build the thing, years and years, fucking millions of Swedish dollars, whatever those are, kroner, and then they finally get the thing assembled, and they launch it, and it goes out, and it's in the water for I don't think more than 45 minutes, and it fucking sinks.
Fucking hell.
And in the 18-month investigation that followed, where they took apart the whole thing, they tried to figure it all out, what they found was that the reference measuring stick, you know, the yardstick that each shipwright had, that there was I think like a 3-inch difference. so like they had like different they literally had different yardsticks, right? One had a yardstick, one had a meter stick.